I'd like to welcome everyone to the Arts and Letters and Numbers Creative Music Online final performance. It has been an amazing 3 weeks. We've had an international group of musicians from incredibly diverse disciplines and different approaches to music, meeting every day on Zoom, studying composition, Indian classical singing, Indian rhythms, uh, improvisation, voice, and many other things, and exploring interdisciplinary ways of working and meeting together on Zoom to create new music for you and for ourselves and for our communities at large. And this performance, almost all of the music was put together just in the last 3 weeks during the pandemic, during this time of incredible political and social strife. And we've just explored ways of working together in music as a metaphor for what we can achieve through society at large and through expanding our openness and abilities for understanding world culture. And so we have for you almost 20 different composers who've created new works that they're sharing with you, and we're so honored and thrilled for what we've experienced together and for opening up this moment to share with you. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, welcome everybody. I have so been enjoying all of your submissions and listening to it. It's such a pleasure, and it's been such a pleasure just getting to know all of you and working with you. And I hope that this, continues on even after this festival is over. All right, so now everybody please mute your audio, mute your video. Except for Zulfia. Hi, Zulfia. How are you
Hello,
doing?
everyone, and it is an exciting day today. We're together for this wonderful concert, wrapping up the week, and I'm really happy to be part of it. Um, Today, I'm presenting a piece, Three Strokes. An experienced hunter once said, "In a chase, when my crossbow arrow hits the heart of a running deer, it takes a deer 3 intense strokes before it falls dead on the ground." Please listen to the piece and keep in mind it's a psychophysiological sketch, and I would love to hear your feedback after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Zulfia. Thank you for this piece, Sophia. I she didn't even hear me play it yet. That's the first time that she's heard me. I hope it was okay.
Wow, actually, this is amazing. Thank you so much for a beautiful interpretation.
Well, it was a joy to play it. And it's really fun, and this is what I love about it all is like this is just the first time, you know. We have many more after this. Michael, do you have any questions?
Well, it's just such a great piece to start off this program with. So that was Zofia Tursunova, brand new piece called Three Strokes, performed and recorded just this morning by Ashley Bathgate. And wow, what an amazing piece. I mean, just like such energy, and it's just so reminiscent of what you were describing, Zofia, in your introduction.
I loved that so much, actually. It meant a lot, and it always means a lot, actually, to have a composer give me some sort of imagery or when there is a text or something to imagine or think about, you know, before you take that leap off the cliff learning a new piece. It gives it so much more life and breath and helps shape my interpretation. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I forgot to mention that this piece was actually inspired by Ashley's spirit together with so it's also has a little bit of your or a lot of your energy in it.
Thank you. I love you for saying that. Thank you. Hi, Yunfei.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm so happy that to get your video this morning. I'm glad we
Yeah,
could add it to the program. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
yes, sorry about that. It's too late, I know.
No, no,
And
it's great. It's never too late.
yeah.
It's really on time in the world of contemporary music.
I actually just got this video this morning, and I want to thank you to Raiko. He just helped me find a good player because yesterday we had a private license, and I told him I don't want to play for today's concert because I don't have a good performer to play the piece. And he said, why not? Why? I have a good friend, and I can ask him. Maybe he will willing to play a piece. And I don't think it's I don't think it's well true. But today I just got the recording, and it's unbelievable. So
It
yeah,
is unbelievable, and it's wonderful, and I'm so
yeah.
happy it worked out. And what is the name of this piece?
The name is If It Doesn't Happen. I actually want dedicate to the Raiko for about this piece, and this piece based on the fifth intervals, and it has two sections. The first section is a slow section. I want to build like the energy through long notes, and I focused on more details in dynamics, and like one long notes by adding accents, crescendo, and a huge vibration to the air sound. And I'm trying to shape the dynamics for each phrases. And the second section is a faster part. And but today I'm want to only show the first section of the piece.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to it. This is If It Doesn't Happen. Thank you again, Yunfei.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. And I believe that was recorded yesterday. One Key Lee, am I saying that right? Is
Yes.
the player in that piece?
Also, we wanted to invite Raiko Fuding to join the conversation because he worked with Yunfei Lee on this piece. And Raiko also recommended Wonky Lee as the saxophone player.
Yeah, when I met Jennifer yesterday and asked her which piece she has in the concert, and she said that she doesn't have one. I just decided this cannot be, so we have to make something possible. And Wonky is a very good friend of mine. Plus, also he lives close by, and he and his family are in Korea right now. We're taking care of their cats. So I thought it might be a good time to ask him for a favor, and so I emailed him and recorded it in Korea yesterday and sent it back. And isn't it amazing those things are possible right now?
Absolutely.
And it sounded beautiful, and I can't wait to hear the whole piece. So keep working on it.
Yeah, it's
Thank
wonderful.
you. I guess he only had a few hours to practice that. It's a big challenge for him, but that's amazing.
Well, it's great, and it's actually it's a good recording, and I can hear, at least in my headphones, like all of these kind of multiphonics and other, the sounds are really amazing. I mean, that's one thing that about Zoom that I do love is that you're kind of in your own world with whatever audio experience you have going on in your house. But in some ways, I'm hearing everything under a microscope, which is wonderful that you might miss in a concert hall, being far away from everyone.
Yeah,
Anyway, it's great. Thank you so much.
thank you.
So the next piece is by Daewen Ju. It's called Now. And Daewen is going to speak after and tell you a little bit about his process and his piece.
So, wow, what an interesting process. It reminds me so much of your visual art. For those people that don't know Duin, he's, I think, identifies primarily as a visual artist and as an architect. And last year at Arts, Letters, and Numbers, he filled this massive gallery with his work just in a matter of about a week or two. So, working very quickly. And Duin, what was it like for you doing this composition, and how much experience have you had? How many compositions have you created? It seems like it's a very new endeavor for you.
Yeah, yes. I think during these past 3 weeks, I gathered a lots of questions from the lectures and conversations we have online. And and I have some like understanding for painting, visual art, and just combine those and with those questions and made this. Uh,
It's really remarkable. It reminded me, as I said, a lot of your visual art, kind of having different strands all happening at the same time, different perspectives, in a way that, as musicians, so often our music all sinks into the same rhythm, or everything is kind of in the same template or the same groove. But it's like you created this almost like multi-dimensional thing with so many different strands happening at the same time. reminds me very much of what happens in a lot of abstract art.
Yeah, I
I
mean, I felt very much like I was in a painting, or that I was walking, through a gallery of, and then hearing something that was coming way off in the distance, and it was, there, and then it comes to the forefront, and then it kind of recedes again, and these new textures just kept coming again and again. So it was really wonderful. I enjoyed it.
all right, thank you. I think if you listen clearly to the piano, there's so many mistakes. But it's really hard for me to redo it. First, I don't know the notes that I'm playing. So
I don't know the notes I'm playing either. And you know what they
yeah,
say, there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes.
right.
Exactly.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
really bravo. Thank you again.
Thank you, Darren.
Who do we have? We have Z Tao. Z, do you want to join me to say a little bit hello?
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I've been listening to your piece a lot. I'm excited for everyone else to hear it. It's called Hexachord Composition for Piano. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so this composition is a composition for solo piano, and it initially started off as a school project where we had to create a hexachord and write a short piece. So the first part of the composition was completed in late May, and I decided to expand a bit more upon it since the beginning of this program, which is, I think, understandable because the first part that's completed is only 45 seconds or less. So, and then, yeah, the piece is still unfinished, but originally I was planning on writing 4 different parts, but then after having had a lesson with Dr. Futing, he gave me a lot of suggestions and pointed out a lot of things I haven't noticed before, which led me to wanting to write more. So now there are 7 sections, but it's still unfinished. But I will still be happy to present it today.
Without further ado, then, Hexachord Composition for Piano. Thank you, Z.
Thank you.
Wow, Z, what an amazing piece that you wrote this just within the last few months, and there's still more to come.
Thank you.
How did you get it performed so quickly?
I recorded it on my keyboard. So yeah, I recorded it.
Right.
You recorded that on a keyboard, not a piano?
No, it's my it's a Yamaha keyboard that's in my room.
Wow, could have fooled me.
Yeah, it fooled me too. It really sounded great, and you're quite a pianist too.
Thank you.
I had a question about, I mean, it's a fugue, right? In the one, I don't know which movement. Is it the second movement
Second
or
movement.
The fourth.
A fourth movement.
Yeah, I think there were some, shorter ones before that. I just wanted to, could you talk a little bit about, writing a fugue? And were you quoting a little bit, was it Bach or what? I'm showing
Yeah.
my lack of awareness. Okay, thank you. But could you, that came, the first time I listened to it, it came as a surprise all of a sudden. I was like, oh, a modern day fugue. I love it when people do that. So is there anything you want to say about that, or maybe not? I just love it.
Yeah. So the reason why I wanted to write a fugue in this specific context is because I actually started off learning how to write music myself on YouTube, watching how to write fugues, because I was fascinated by the music of Bach. And of course, his fugues are some of my favorites. And that's also part of the reason why I quoted the fugue from 1001. And partially also because even though he's not aware of this when he's when he's writing, obviously, but the number 101 itself, I think, is also very fascinating, just because it's reflective both horizontally and vertically. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I quoted that specific theme from Bach's fugues.
I have a quick question for you, Z. Did you write this piece at the piano, or do you prefer to work away from the instrument?
Partially, I wrote the most of the fugue parts at the piano, but the other parts I wrote them on the table without having the piano. But also, I had to change certain parts after I heard them at the piano. So it's kind of a mixed process.
Very cool. Well, thank you again. Did you guys have any other questions?
Just wanted to say, such an incredible variety of textures and sounds that you created for a relatively short piano piece. So it was really quite striking.
Thank you so much.
I love it. I think you should send it to everyone who plays the piano. The end. Okay. Thank you again. All right, we're going to move on now to Inga. Hi, Inga.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah. Seems like an
Feels like what?
an awesome concert to participate in.
This is super fun.
Yeah.
Right, so I think I need a little help pronouncing the title of your piece.
That's awesome, and I will speak about it.
Great.
Should I talk?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is the piece for a cellist with a cello. And while writing it, I was thinking, what are the qualities of a cello that always existed and contributed to a sound, but we don't think of those as our main compositional tools. And I was thinking about overtones, noises, and resonance. And they work to make a cello sounding like a chair, because without overtones, it would be just a sine wave. And I attempted to bring those to the foreground. And the title here is an homophone, which means that we can interpret it differently within different contexts. But given as a title here, there's no other context but yourself. Yeah, so you give it a meaning. And similarly, I thought of the sound in this piece. Some of the sonorities, if you're taking out of the context, can be a signifier of different things and not just a cellist playing a cello. And so I had like two ideas here. First, it's that there are more agencies that contribute the result than only those that we used to identify as contributors. And the second is like my hope that these contributing entities can be freed of their signifier. That's it.
Wonderful. Well, we can't wait to hear it. And who is the performer in this video?
Thank you for asking. This is Steve Morotto, who resides in Boston. And yeah, he helped me to develop this piece. So yeah, that's him.
Awesome. And I was curious when you wrote it.
Just a few months ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's
And
very new.
and we gave a concert, I think like 1 or 2 days before everything was shut down. It was in March. Yeah.
That's great. Well, so, and that means literally everything on this program is a 2020
Yeah.
brand new work, which is really exciting. Great. All right. So let's hear Inga's piece. Thank you, Inga. Thank you, Inga. It's such a beautiful piece. And I'm so in love with the multiphonic gliss. Just multiphonics on a cello in general, I love, and all those harmonics. And I was thinking too, I mean, aside from how gorgeous it is, I was also thinking that there's not really a composer I know who doesn't have this special love affair with that B flat on the G string. I can't tell you how many pieces and how many of my friends who are composers, they just never get away from it. It's like, can't get enough of that one. And so I love it. And he played it so expertly. It's really wonderful.
Thank you.
What an amazing piece, that just have a whole piece that explores the resonances and overtones and noise from the cello. You know, all these things, like you mentioned, that are always there that we don't get to highlight and necessarily appreciate in the way we do in your piece. It was also amazing, you know, there wasn't one note that was fingered on the fingerboard the way someone would normally play the cello. So it was really brilliant how you were able to craft this piece of sonic beauty, you know, using the textures and sounds that you did.
Thank you.
And fantastic performance too.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, he was like plucking them out of thin air, which it's just, he makes it look easier than it is. I can attest to that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And let's see, who do we have? Next is Jonathan Brewer.
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, how's it going?
Can you hear me? Going
Yeah.
well.
So
Yeah, good.
no, I was just gonna say that I thought you did something brave. You're and one of the few people who decided I'm gonna put together a band, and not only compose something but put something together from the fellows, and did it on Zoom. And it was really refreshing. You know, when you sent me your file and I opened it, I was like, oh, this reminds me of, oh, music making, what we used to do before we were locked into this Zoom world and online thing. So thank you for that. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about your piece?
Sure. It's really a collaborative piece between Anush and Alvin and Patrick and Maddie and I. We wrote it together. We got together, you know, we decided to form a little ensemble, and we got together a few days ago. I thought it would take us 15 minutes, and it took a lot longer than that. You know, first it was like technical issues with Zoom, of course. But then after we got all that ironed out, we would do a take, and then somebody would be like, oh, I think we can do better. Like, let's try that again. And then we do another one, and then we do another one. And so this is take 7, and we were really happy with it. So yeah, it's in sort of 3 sections, 3 movements. The first one is a little bit slower, and in the second part, we started just sort of having like little conversations between 2 musicians at once, and that goes in a little cycle. And in the last part, we go a little crazy. So that's it. Hope everyone enjoys it.
All right, here we go.
I hear music, they were saying. Music wakes us. Music makes us see the hidden, join the broken, look and listen, see the flowers, how they ray their redness, whiteness, silverness, and blue.
Samuel Adler.
And the trees, with their many-tongued, much syllabling, their green and yellow leaves, hustle us and shuffle us,
For additional support.
and bid us like the starlings and the rooks.
ISBN.
Come together, crowd together,
Contents
to chatter and make merry.
Instrumentation!
While the red cow moves forward, and the black cow stands still.
Stravinsky.
Miles. Miles building a new room in the homesteader's cabin we live
This
in.
is probably one of the most ingenious passages.
Been at it since 8 this morning and now it's past 6.
Why waste sensation, she seemed to ask. Why waste a single drop
Finest
that can be
level.
pressed out of this ripe
Sophistication!
this melting, this adorable world?
Percussion instruments. Many attempts have been made to standardize percussion.
And the air around her became threaded with sensation.
Since such agreement has not yet been reached.
Yay! I'm wondering if maybe all the players want to just pop on real quick, say hi, take a little virtual bow. Yes.
Hi.
Alvin's in
Bowing
Carnegie Hall.
from Carnegie Hall.
How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Ethernet, Ethernet, Ethernet. In this case, this is great. That was a really corny joke. I won't do that again. You guys, you're so wonderful. You make me smile. I'm curious, like, how you felt about, was this your first Zoom collaboration? What were your feelings? What was that, process like for you all?
It was funny. Yeah, it was my first time really doing something over Zoom, and I think we were like, oh my gosh, the audio is just coming in and out for everybody, and then we were thinking, then why don't we just let Zoom to choose like who will be featured? And the method to do this is we just get crazy, and the Zoom will just like a randomized plugin that will just help us to figure out who will be heard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've been feeling that so much. I've been teaching a lot of improv classes the past week, and it's the same thing. It's kind of, some people were very frustrated by that fact, but I've embraced it as well, just as like a thing that happens. Is what is the cage thing? Is it the Ichun or the somebody help me out? Yes, thank you. It's like everything the world is selecting it for you, and so there's something kind of magical, and there's something magical about what Zoom even does in distorting audio sometimes.
I actually, even with the randomness of Zoom, I really enjoyed how I could hear everyone. There was such a conversation and dialogue going back and forth between the 5 performers, and everyone was contributing such different things that all were like part of the same conversation. It's like if you hear birds singing, each one, if they're different species of birds, they have a different call, but then they all come together to create the sound that you would hear in the forest, for example. And that was very much my experience with this piece.
Is there anything you guys want to say about the text that you chose, or what you were all reading from?
Sure, I can start with that one. So I literally just picked up a Virginia Woolf novel that was next to me, and so every time we did a take, like, you know, a big part of the trial and error process was, you know, each take we'd come up with, okay, this didn't really work and this worked, and so we slowly kind of locked into this idea of, okay, we could do these duets, and then, you know, we could, you know, and everyone can keep an eye on the timer, and so. Um, so each time, basically, before, you know, the duets, I would just pick up the book, flip to a page, and, like, you know, start reading. So that was my sort of and, you know, I chose Virginia Woolf just because, you know, she's great like that. You can literally flip to any page and it's something really poetic and beautiful, like very simple, just about like being alive. And so so that was my sort of, you know, text selection process.
You all have such wonderful speaking voices too. And I emailed Alvin. I said Alvin should have a podcast after this is all done. He
Yeah,
has
I
that
think I
like
should.
soothing, calming voice that I want like coming out of my iPhone when I'm meditating before I go to sleep every night. It's wonderful.
I'm seriously considering that. Like,
I think
really.
you should. Well, now's the time to do it. Now's
Yes,
definitely a time to have a podcast if you
I'm
want to
going
have
to
one.
read aloud Samuel Adler's The Study of Orchestration.
Anuj gives the thumbs up. Cool. Anybody else? Just last thoughts or feelings? You all were wonderful. It was so great. May this continue. You know, maybe continue making music this way and finding all of Zoom's nooks and crannies and the ways we can work within it. Thank you all. Hi, Stacy. How are you
Hi,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm getting happier as we go through the concert. This is such a joyful thing. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your piece, Controlled Burn?
Sure. So Controlled Burn is inspired by a poem by Amy Ray Irish, and she's a Colorado-based poet. And the poem is really, to me, it's about examining your life and about one of the most difficult emotions that can come up, at least for me, is regret. And so the poem to me is really, really striking in its depiction of regret and just this idea of a controlled burn. And it's for improvised voice, cello, and piano. And the idea for this came up about 2 weeks ago. So it's been an interesting process just writing it really quickly and also kind of thinking of how I want my music to unfold over longer periods of time. I've been thinking about that a lot, especially with our raga classes and everything. So anyway, I'm super grateful to Daisy and Maddie for their incredible contributions to this. They made this better than I could have ever imagined. And to Dr. Feuding and Michael Harrison for just encouraging me and for their incredible generosity with their knowledge. And I'm just honored to be here. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Stacy. Okay, so we're going to hear Controlled Burn next. Yeah. And
Well,
I just want to be silent. It's really
that was
beautiful.
really moving. And especially to see this come in such a short period of time. I mean, it was just 2 weeks ago that Stacy and I were on the phone, and she was thinking of writing for, stretching her wings a little bit because she mostly writes for piano. And so we came up with this idea of working with Daisy on voice and Maddie on cello, and it's really an intercontinental collaboration because Maddie's in London and Daisy's in New York and Stacy's in Colorado, and that we were able to put together such a beautiful organic piece on Zoom uh, in such a short period of time. I mean, it shows exactly what this workshop has been all about. Just tapping into that creativity and letting it out there, whatever it's going to be. And in this case, it's just something so striking.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I was, I was listening to everything sort of fully last night when I was putting everything together, and it was the middle of the night. It was like 2 in the morning, and it really was like just transporting me, from start to finish, and I was in this other world while I was listening, and it's so powerful. Frida says in the chat to everyone, this piece really hit straight in the heart. Not only did it bring me to tears, it made me sob. So incredibly moving. I think we all feel that. And I was just remembering also something you said in one, like how you were a little bit Zoom shy or not always comfortable speaking on recording or on camera, and that juxtaposed against basically leaving us all weeping on the floor. What you just did, incredible. I mean, it's just incredibly powerful. So, immense gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just honored to be here, like I said, and I really think that what Daisy and Maddie and really everyone here, just the energy here, contributed to me being able to do that is just wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you again. Whew. Okay, so next, another fierce female. I'd like to invite Una Grady. Hi, Una.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really enjoying this concert.
I am too. And yeah, I guess I was I was in a very, this is like the moody portion of the program or something. I was feeling this anyway last night. So I'm looking forward to, well, everyone else is looking forward to hearing it. I've heard it a few times now, but this is, you're going to play a solo piece, and it's a meditation on, well, actually, why don't you tell me how to pronounce? I know how to say O'Rafferty, but is it Pidgin?
Pidgin.
Pidgin.
Pidgin. It's like Patty.
Patty. Can you talk a little bit about just your background in music and this piece in particular?
Yeah, so my background is mostly in fiddle music, different types of traditions, especially Irish music. And I'm really a kind of a brand new, I hesitate even to say it, but just brand new at composing. And so this whole experience has been a great sort of time for me to explore that idea for myself. And this is a sort of like a first study of that process for me. And I started with a jig, an Irish jig called Pagino Rafferda, and just explored a little melodic hook that caught my ear from the tune, and worked from there, and just kind of took all the ideas that are flowing from this these whole 3 weeks in my mind from all the different classes and all the teachers, and kind of threw everything at it, and this is what I came up with.
Yes, thank you so much, Una. It's so beautiful. Really a joy to watch you play.
Thank you.
Wow, it's so nice to hear this music and such a incredible variety of music that we have, you know, from one piece to another. Tell us a little bit what it was like for you composing this piece, because you said composing is a relatively new thing for you.
Well, I feel like the concept of composing has been difficult for me to wrap my mind around. And so going to your raga classes, for example, kind of helped me think of it, sort of approach it in a different way. But really, like, all the different ideas I had in my mind from these couple weeks allowed me to just find a little nugget that I loved in something that already existed, and then I just played with it and experimented and let it lead me.
Wonderful. That's such a great way to compose, is to take inspiration from a tradition that you know well and from some music that you love, and then to find a way that inspires you to discover your own voice.
Yeah, I can't wait to work on it some more.
Thank you so much, Una.
Thank you, Una. So next we have Maddie Ashman.
Hi.
I heard a woo.
Yes.
Yes.
People in the household come down to watch, but they're hiding. So yeah.
Gosh, actual cheering. I miss it so much. Thank you for
We've been
that.
clapping here for every performance, but yeah.
Also, gosh, every time I see you, you have like a rainbow. Whether you have been in different, like outside and inside and bedrooms and everything, and I always love the decor. It's always colorful.
Yeah, I keep moving around. I can't sit at a desk all day every day, so I just try to like keep it interesting.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your piece? Is it sirens or sirènes? Like, I wasn't sure how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think we were going with like sirens, like those mermaids, but I'm not really sure whether it's spelled correctly. We kind of like the French sound of sirens.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah.
But it's basically, I've been working with an artist called Alf Law, and he's got an exhibition coming up, and it's based on The Tempest. It's called Der Sturm. Der Sturm. And this is kind of one of the draft videos and some draft music I've been working on for the video. So yeah.
And do you want to? Maybe we'll talk about that after. Do you want to talk about the video at the end, or do you want to? Where did the visuals, I guess, come from that we're about to see?
So Alf, the artist, is very big on is exploring kind of like big colors and abstract art, and he made this had this project with fabrics and kind of displaying these fabrics, and they're kind of hung on these posts at the beach, and they kind of sway in a way that kind of looks like they're figures, like kind of ghosts or cloaked figures, and yeah, and the whole exhibition is about kind of climate change and the weather and things like that and everything going on at the moment.
Great. All right. Well, here is Sirens, or Sirène, if you prefer, by Maddie Ashman. Thank you, Maddie.
Woo!
Woo! So gorgeous.
Thank you.
And I noticed at the end it said location Whitstable. Can you tell us where Whitstable is? Or
It's called
is it Whitstable?
Whitstable. That's the one.
I corrected myself.
Yeah, it's in the UK. It's a beach. Yeah, but it's in Kent. Yeah. If anyone knows where Kent is. But yeah, it's where the artist has a studio. So yeah, it's a really nice place. If you're ever in the UK and you don't want to go mainstream, go to Whitstable.
It looks gorgeous. The images are so beautiful. Can you tell us his name one more time, the artist or she?
Alf Law. I'll put it in the chat.
That's great. And has this been an ongoing collaboration? Have you known each other a long time?
No, I only met him through my boyfriend, like last summer, and then it just so happened I saw some of his videos, and they had kind of library music, and I was like, oh, if you want some music to be composed, it'd be great to have a project. And then I just it just so happened he was just like, oh, here's a video, here's a video, here's a video, here's a video, and then yeah, it just it's been really fun, and it's nice to compose to some art as well. Yeah.
It is, and I really think that they do complement each other so much.
Yeah.
They really did. Did he send you the video and then you composed the music to the video?
Yeah, which was funny because he says he usually like uses music first, and then he like makes a video to the music. But he basically put these images together, and he was like, here's like a rough sketch of what it could be, and then I wrote the music, and then actually now I think he's remade the video in relation to the music. He's very big on kind of having like separate perspectives with the visuals and the music, and then finding their kind of interpretation that comes together through both. So yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about the process of how you composed this piece?
So I wanted to challenge myself to write something for cello and vocals. So a lot of it was just writing on my cello and singing, quite kind of openly and freely. And then yeah, I really wanted to write some kind of dense 4-part harmonies. So I kind of worked on them, and then got my sister's a singer as well, so I got her to do the 2 kind of higher soprano parts, and I did all the lower ones and doubled her things. So I heard how that kind of sounded, and then I went away and kind of worked on it a bit more, and then I spoke about the cello part with Ashley and just kind of making that more vibrant. At first it was a little more kind of still, with just boosting up the end. But yeah, it was very kind of free, just going back and forth with the video. Very much like performing it as I wrote it, yeah, with the instrument.
So you actually did you use any notation, or did you compose the whole piece in Logic or some other digital audio workstation like that?
So it was Logic, and then I made a score of it for when I recorded it, just for myself to kind of reference, and my sister as well. She's never recorded with MIDI before, and I don't think it would go down very well with her musical training. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic piece. Just the harmonies are so lush, and it's beautiful the way the whole thing unfolds. And just for our audience, in case they don't know, Maddie, who composed the piece, also played all the cello parts, and she and her sister sang all the vocal parts.
Thank you.
Maddie asked me, she was like, oh, let's have a lesson or a meeting or something, and she sent me her music, and I was like, what do you want me to say? It's all great. You do it better than I do. So I told her, I was like, you need a one-woman show now. This is it. It's so gorgeous. And Daisy also, and I echo this statement, I love your voice, all caps. It's really so beautiful. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Congratulations, Maddie. Fantastic piece.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we have one more piece before we're going to take a little intermission, and that is by Peyton McDonald, one of our faculty of the Creative Music Online workshop. Hi, Peyton.
Hi, how you doing?
Peyton is in the grass. Very zen. I love it. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your composition, and you're playing it also, and you made the film?
Yeah, so
I mean, I've been exploring different ways to play the marimba for a while, and I haven't actually done an entire piece where I don't use any kind of mallets or sticks at all. So this was the first time I tried to do that.
Cool. Well, and it is called a mammalian bioprint visor, right? I guess we'll talk a little bit. I don't want to ruin it, right? So why don't we hear it first, and then we can maybe chat a little bit after. Okay? Sound good? All right. Yes. It's so awesome. I love this piece so much. I actually have so much to say and so much to ask you on this one. I mean, everything just sounds so incredible, and the film is amazing, of course. But what I love the most is that, you know, we obviously there's some like digital effects, reverb and maybe a delay or something, but other than that, these are organic sounds from just things that found objects, styrofoam and a piece of a binder. And I'm always kind of mesmerized and impressed when composers and musicians find use for these things. And not only that, but they make them sound incredible, and they make them sound almost as if they are an effect or some sort of digital manipulation of the sound. Do you want to talk a little bit about your process? I know this isn't the first time I've seen you use handmade objects or things in your pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's become a little bit of a mission of mine to try to expand the timbral palette of mallet keyboard instruments. In the earlier days, like in the early 20th century, a lot of xylophone players were actually using wooden mallets. And then as you got into like the 1950s and 60s, people started using rubber mallets. And then in the 1970s, yarn mallets came into play. And then it kind of got stuck there. And about 99.9% of especially marimba players, but also vibraphone players, use a very, very small range of mallets for almost all their playing. And the mallets they use are great. I use them all the time too. They sound really nice, but it is a pretty small sound world. And so one of the things I've been trying to do in my own composing and improvising and video work is to try to expand the palette. And you don't have to go very far to do that. I mean, sometimes I just reach around me and grab stuff. But it's interesting. I'm starting to realize now there's a whole world of moving around the instrument using sort of rubbing and stroking and scraping techniques that I could actually really develop that into something more sophisticated and even expand beyond further. So yeah, so it's a project I'm working on.
And could you speak just a little bit, if you're willing, I'm curious about how you mic'd the marimba to like pick, because it's very close miking, or maybe it's even contact miking, to be able to pick up sort of the nuance and that the sounds that you do.
Yeah, contact miking is possible, but the problem is you have to have something on every single bar. It doesn't work that well. So what I did is I just had a couple condenser mics and I put them really, really close. And then they were only a couple inches off of the bars, whereas normally they'd be above the instrument more. So when I was recording the piece, it just took me a little bit of time to kind of find how loud I could play, but most of the playing I was doing was actually quite soft. So it was in a fairly narrow band.
Yeah. Awesome.
Peyton, I've followed your work for about 20 years now, and what was really interesting to me to hear this piece was how you keep evolving and adding new elements into your work, and then how everything, it's like, and everything interrelates. So for example, maybe marimba was your primary instrument, and then you took up tabla drumming, and then you took up classical Indian singing, and then you started making films. And then you started doing polyphonic raga, where you're overdubbing your voice and creating these polyphonic textures. And now all of that comes into play full circle in this piece, where you're back at the marimba, and you have the filmmaking, and you have the polyphonic techniques that you're using in your ragas. And it's just like creating this whole new interdisciplinary world. It's really amazing.
Well, thanks, Michael. That's really sweet of you. Yeah, I'm kind of a restless soul artistically, and as some of those discussions we had last week with everyone were really interesting. And different composers work different ways. Some people, like Steve Reich, they find a voice earlier in their life, and then they keep doing that and just refining that one voice over and over. And other people, like me, move around more. I guess people like Lou Harrison, was a big inspiration for me, that he just kind of continually kept learning things, and he got into instrument building, he got into calligraphy, he was improvising, composing, doing all kinds of things. And I guess at a certain point, I don't know, somewhere in my 30s, I realized that that's how I am naturally. And I just embrace that and kind of relax and just sort of follow my muse with it. But, you know, I still love playing percussion instruments and I still like composing for them. And so even though I have gone off, you're right, it all comes back. And you may have noticed the whole thing's based around a drone. I can never get away from modal music or drone-based music. Pretty much anything I do in any area connects with that. Even when I'm doing really noisy, free kind of stuff, there's almost always a drone going. So.
It's terrific. Thank you, Peyton. Thank you, everybody, for this wonderful first half of the show. We're going to let's take maybe 10 to 15 minutes break. And you can all come off of your muted status if you like and talk amongst yourselves, or go downstairs, get some water or whatever, bathroom break, all of those things, and then we'll kind of reconvene. Okay, everybody, welcome back. So getting things a little turned up, we're gonna have James. He has a piece for us. Do you want to say it is called Press Play IRL-LOL, which I believe means in real life, laugh out loud.
Yes.
And then Until Jim?
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
that right?
So
Okay.
Untel is a French word that kind of means like Mr. John Doe or, Mr. So-and-so. And I've kind of used that as a moniker for some electronic music that I've done. And over the past couple weeks, I've really been thinking about that a little more, and how like using sort of pre-created things or like sequences or samples and loops and things, like it somehow like lends itself to being anonymous or having an alias. But I don't know, I think I'm reconsidering that now, and I tried to make a piece using two different percussion synthesizers that are kind of these distinct instruments, but they're kind of synced up. And what I did was I tried to create something that wasn't very repetitious. It's a series, well, two series of 16 different cells that range from 1 step to 16. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And each one kind of is built on what came before, sort of. But they're both kind of independent. And so this piece that I recorded a video of is me just kind of quickly exploring the different relationships that these two things can have. So
Awesome. Well,
yeah,
let's hear
check
it.
it out.
This is great. Thanks, James. Thank you, James. Rock on.
That was so fantastic because, first of all, it was the first piece in the whole program that was groove based. And so it just shows the incredible diversity of musicians and composers that we have. And it was just really inspired me. I was like singing and dancing along.
Nice.
Me too, totally. It's like
Awesome.
speakers if you got them.
Yeah.
James, can you tell us a little bit about the equipment that you're using? This is kind of like a modern day instrument now. We see it more and more. I don't know if it's a push, like Ableton makes something called push, but there's lots of different companies that make this stuff, and it's super cool if you want to tell people a little bit about that.
There's two different devices. They either play sampled things, like sampled sounds, or one is like an analog synthesizer, which generates sounds that way. And there's a lot of different ways you can manipulate the sounds. Amplitude, filtering, and all these different parameters. That's why there are all these knobs and sliders and things. So it's really an instrument you can kind of like keep the sound kind of evolving. I guess that's like the performative aspect of it. So you're not just hearing the same things over and over again. I didn't get as into that as I probably would have, because I was trying to get through this sequence of all these different figures. So that was kind of I was distracting myself. But I tried to limit myself to a certain set of sounds. I was thinking of bowls, like the 12 or so different sounds, which is about the different kind of range, 12 different voices that each of these instruments has. But they have their own kind of sound. So I was like trying to write something with just those voices. They're different bowls, so to speak.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so moving on, our next composer is Brian Mark. Hi, Brian.
Hello, Ashley.
How
I
you
actually
doing?
moved as well, so I hope you guys can hear me. I'm in my living room. So
I can hear you just fine.
oh,
Yeah.
good. Okay. All right.
Yeah. You are the composer, visual artist, and performer in this next piece. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So Frozen in Ecstasy. Actually, the piece was written the piece was written in 2015, and I recorded it then. The visual component was premiered in January when I did a concert with Izzy O'Connell and Kathleen Sepove at Arete, like 2 months before COVID. But basically, so Frozen in Ecstasy was written for, I don't know if you know David Conte at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. So at the time, it was his 60th birthday, and then he asked 24 students to write a piece based on a Chopin prelude. And we had to pick one. So I picked an E major, Opus 28, number 9. I think it's because E major is maybe one of my favorite keys. I don't know. And so basically, this piece is sort of like a musical notation piece, where basically it's improvised in a sort of modern, contemporary way. But then I'm sort of juxtaposing it with just sort of, if you know that piece, it's just it's a very slow tempo, and it's all triplets. It's very slow. So I just took some kind of interesting measures and juxtaposed my own writing. And I recorded it actually in London. And then, and again, this visual component was premiered 2 months ago. No, sorry, 2 months before COVID happened. So I guess it's sort of like also appropriate for the time that we're in, based on the title of like Frozen in Time and Frozen in Ecstasy. So
Absolutely apropos. Yeah. Great. Well, let's hear it. Frozen in Ecstasy by Brian Mark. Thank you, Brian. It's so beautiful. Yeah, so I had a question to ask, and that is, were you a composer first and then visual artist, or vice versa, or always both at the same time? And can you talk a little bit just about both and about kind of how they go hand in hand for you?
I guess, yeah, I was a composer first. I think because I've studied, studying composition, but I've studied a lot of film music as well, and just sort of music editing and film editing. I actually doing visual work. It started in London before I moved back. I just sort of got Final Cut Pro, and I just took an existing piece and I just sort of just went with it. And I did an installation for the LSO. And so ever since then, with Final Cut Pro, I just been, not only taking my works, but other composers as well. Like I've done video installations for like works by Missy Mazzoli, Meredith Monk. I'm actually completing one for Ted Hearn, Nobody's for solo violin. So it's just that I think it's because all my years studying film music, and film editing or music editing, I don't know, it just felt like natural to me to just sort of like take existing visuals and place it to an existing piece of music as opposed the other way around. So
It seems like one of the most striking things about your work is how integrated the visuals are with the music. And it makes perfect sense that you're doing both because you're the same person. And so you're using the same set of aesthetics and compositional skills that you've developed over a lifetime in your work editing and cutting video. And so the pieces are totally integrated in a really striking way. That piece was really kind of eerie in how it mimics what's happening during this time, during the pandemic. And then everything's like frozen together, and then at the end you see the motion on the keyboard without the music, so it's like it like triggers that you're expecting the sound, but it's not there. So it's kind of like a ghost of a sound or an image.
that recording actually was from a Zoom recorder in like a living room back 5 years ago. I apologize, it's not as professional as other, like the stuff I'm hearing today. The quality is much better, but eventually I would love to re-record that because you could just tell there's a lot of distortion. I don't know, distortion at some part.
I loved it for that reason, though. I felt like it had this. It was taking me like to another time. I thought it was.
Okay.
It sounded purposeful, so I was into it.
Thank you.
Sounded good to me. Okay, thank you, Brian. And next we have a piece called "Post-Apocalyptic Dawning" by Alvin Leung. Alvin, do you want to pop on screen?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Wow.
Somewhere in the galaxy, are
yes,
you?
You can go virtually everywhere. But here in Bowling Green, Ohio is it's pouring rain.
Oh,
It's like
no.
rainy for the whole day. And what a great weather to introduce this piece. Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say before we play
Well, actually, it was a very funny story. I got to know the word apocalypse from the comments you made in our first listening critique. And you know, it's not that common for a non-native English speaker to know that word, unless we are really in that time. So yeah, and also it was a really great collaboration with Daisy Press, who is the vocalist for this piece, and I would really hope you all enjoy the piece. Let's all enjoy this 6-minute audio experience.
Thank you, Alvin. Post-apocalyptic dawning. That was incredible. Yay, Alvin.
Thank you.
And Daisy. Daisy, if you want to pop on, I don't
Yeah.
know if you feel like coming on camera, but that was incredible. You sound gorgeous. And how many parts? That was like multi-tracked, what, 10 vocal lines or something?
I'm going to hop on. Hang on. Hang on. I'm coming, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I still have this.
This background is awesome.
My background is so ridiculous. Hang on. We're going to get normal. There we go. Get normal. Oh.
You're such a goddess.
Oh, thank you. First of all, something that I have said many times, I repeat myself many times, but I've said many times to Alvin and in a few of the classes, is that he was such a generous collaborator in terms of his curiosity and how he really wanted to get to know what my voice does and what my voice likes to do and to incorporate my language. He was asking me to do this very poignant thing, which I still have so much work to do on, which is like singing in Cantonese. Wow. I spent a lot of time on this. There were a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and while I'm recording, I just want you to know that I can't have my air conditioners on, and a couple days ago, it was like 90-something degrees here, so I was like sweating all day long, literally, and singing these harmonies and trying so hard to get them in tune, and failing and sometimes succeeding, but the way that you approached me, Alvin, and the voice that you had in this piece, in your sincerity, those things make it worth it always. That's what I have to say.
Well
Thank
said.
you.
Thank you, Daisy.
Yeah, it was really a joy. Great journey. And it was like all of this just came in less like just 3 weeks. And it's just really, I really treat collaborative projects very differently. And when I get the chance to know a person or a musician to work on, I really love to get to know them more and let them inspire me.
I really think this is, as well as the chops that you have, which are pretty incredible, I think this is one of the greatest strengths that you have and that you will continue to follow, and that will be really profound in the way that you make music.
I
Thank
agree,
you.
and I just want to add that it's amazing, not only the collaboration between the two of you, but how versatile, Alvin, you are as a composer, because you use so many things in this piece that you were just exposed to in the last 3 weeks that you absorbed into your language. For example, this is your first piece, I believe, that you've ever composed in just intonation.
Yes.
And you did it so beautifully. And then you actually created your own raga, and it ends up that it actually is an existing raga, Chandrakons, but you didn't know that. Not Chandrakons.
It came from a Björk song.
I see.
Yeah. I told
Charukeshi
that. I
is the
kind of
raga.
stole that. And it was like a raga.
Yeah, you did. So it's rag Charukeshi, not Chandrakons,
Yes.
excuse me. And then the way that you tailored the piece specifically for Daisy, to match her vocal style, the kind of things that she loves musically. So it really was an incredible gift for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I even want to add to that in your compositional process, you took a sample of my own work, my own Shruti box that I use every single day. And that was part of it. And I know it's out of tune. I know it's a lot of things, but like you took it, and that just showed so much openness and humility. I'll do anything for you now. I'll seriously do anything for you. That's how it goes.
That drone is actually the starting point for this composition. I didn't come up with a title first or anything or any concepts. I just took the drone and I put it in Ableton because if we all don't listen attentively to the drone, it's just one note, right? But it's not. It's like a lot of stuff inside. And when you put it in Ableton and play around with all those crazy plugins, then you get a post-apocalyptic dawning.
That we do. And I just want to say that you have this incredible ability to really pull listeners into your mind, into your world, into, you know, the imagery or the narrative or whatever it is that you have going on there. I feel immediately transported. And it's kind of magical. You know, there's something so tactile about your music and your writing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for teaching the word.
Oh, yeah. I kind of feel guilty about that. That's teaching someone the apocalypse for the first time, but cool. It's a great word. Alrighty. So next, I'd like to invite Eric Barganier to join me for a moment. Hi, Eric.
Hi there, Ashley. How are you holding up?
How you doing? I'm holding up fine. It's getting a little toasty in here without my AC, but I think people start to see as these shows go on or meetings go on, like the sweat, like I start to get I glow. Sorry, I don't sweat, I glow. But otherwise, I'm doing great. I'm in a really good mood with all these pieces. So why don't you tell us about this next piece? I'm actually playing in it, so.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, let me just say thank you so much, Ashley, for taking this on with me and in such a short time span, because I got this piece to you probably maybe a week ago, and I heard your recording of it like at 8 o'clock this morning, which was really fun to wake up to. And it was very jarringly, it wakes you up. So first, thank you so much for working with me on this. It really meant a lot, and it was very, very special. And also, with that being said too, thank you, David, Peyton, Michael, Ryko, and the rest of the Arts, Letters, Numbers staff that made this entire collaboration possible, because this was a really fantastic experience. But this piece is called Temporary Autonomous, and it was written with you, Ashley, in mind. I wanted to go and give you a piece that would show off the things that I thought you would enjoy, and things that I really liked in your playing style. And then I started to wrap a bunch of other philosophical and political concepts into that as time went on within the context of this workshop. So I can give a little bit more insight into those inner workings after we hear the performance.
Sounds great. So this is Temporary Autonomous.
Nice job, Ashley. Wow. Congrats, you guys.
Yeah, bravo, Eric. I
Yeah, that
hadn't
was
even
fantastic.
honestly, I hadn't even watched it. I don't like watching myself that soon after recording. I'm laughing because what you said is I wanted to write what Ashley, you know, to your strengths, what you're good at, and I was like, yes, loud-mouthed and violent and extremely aggressive. Well
But you
done.
do that so
Well
well.
done. You've got me to a T, but it's a great piece, and I want to talk to you too. But I just want to say, like, my experience is like and I usually don't get so late. I feel like I'm having my payback to every composer who ever turned in scores like the week or day before. It's like this was retribution because poor Eric was like waiting. These guys, all three of them were so on top of it, had me parts, like well in advance, the whole thing planned out. I'm like, yes, yes, and I'm like running around with a chicken with her head cut off, and finally, so I recorded this last night, and it feels, I look like I'm possessed. That's how I felt when I watched a little bit of it this morning. It's like I'm some sort of other person, other demon spawn. But this is what I love about new pieces and contemporary music is that it will never have that first performance again, and it will never be that spontaneous. I mean, hopefully it will have a life of spontaneity, but never will it be that, which was this completely like both of us flying by the seat of our pants and me like interpreting this and learning it so quickly and then recording it. And so of course there's so much further to go with it, but I actually feel like there's something magical about these things when they're the first time or the first moment, or like you're terrified of what's about to happen. And I was reading along with the part like, I don't know if I'm gonna fall off the rails. I don't know if I'm gonna like have to stop playing because my arm is falling off. And then there's just this will that keeps you going. And with a piece like that, it does take a lot of sort of stamina and muscle strength, and I really could only I had like 2 takes in me last night, so that was the second take. The first one got totally screwed up with autofocus. It was like I was like going for it, and then I looked at the video and I was like, God damn it, like. But this one was really great too. So anyway, thank you for this piece, and why don't you talk a little bit about, well, anything you want to talk about.
Sure. The name itself came from a piece of literature from the writer Hakim Bey, Temporary Autonomous Zones. So at the very beginning of this workshop, I hadn't had anything written. I didn't have any ideas. I knew that I wanted to write for you, but like past that point, I really wanted to go and try to develop some ideas spontaneously through the content of this course. So a big part of the concept about writing this piece came from actually, I think, Raiko's first course on the aesthetics of composition, talking about how there's relevant music and how everything is political, and thinking about that in the context of something like this, where we're all using the internet to go and make these long distance relationships happen. So this piece of literature, Temporary Autonomous Zones, talks about how there are it's this post-anarchist theory about how there's these like bacchanalian parties that are just kind of pop up. They help move social progress along to a certain extent, and it kind of glorifies them. But it talks a lot about how the internet is the factor that in this day and age helps make that possible. So trying to go and capture that same level of intensity that's in that kind of writing, I think in this piece was a big push in terms of how I ended up creating it for you. And also, I don't know, I wanted to really give you something that you could bring alive too. I had no idea where you'd be coming from in terms of this, but yeah, every time I've seen you play in person, you always had like, you joke about it, but you really do have like this ferocious energy to your playing. So, and like, I think the closest thing I've heard to maybe that is maybe Jacob Cooper's Ley Line, maybe for you. So I wanted to try to give you something else in that same direction, at least.
Well, you did, and thank you. And I feel like there's miles to go and a lot more fun that we're gonna be able to have with it. So,
thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Next, we have Jacqueline Breeze. Where are you, Jacqueline? Hi, Jacqueline. I think you win best last name.
Oh, thank you.
I love Jacqueline Breeze. So you wrote a piece that's called October. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So for those of you who don't know, I'm pursuing my undergraduate degree at a liberal arts college right now, and last year I had to take a class in just literature, and part of that was poetry, and I found this poem, and I had to write a big paper on it, but I really took it in. It's about not only lost love, but about the loss of inspiration and ideas, which I think that musicians deal with, especially in times like now when we aren't with other people all the time. So I based it off of the Vaughan Williams Sky Above the Roof, just kind of that really soft, not a lot going on, but yeah.
Great, thank you. Well, this is October by Jacqueline Breeze.
O hushed October morning mild, thy leaves have ripened to the fall. Tomorrow's wind, if it be wild, should waste them all. The crows above the forest call, tomorrow they may form and go. Oh, hushed October morning mild, begin the hours of this day slow. Make the day seem to us less brief, hearts not averse to being beguiled, beguile us in the way you know. Release one leaf at break of day, at noon release another leaf, one from our trees, one far away. Return the sun with gentle mist, enchant the land with amethyst. Slow, slow, for the grape's sake, if they were all whose leaves already burnt with frost, whose clustered fruit must else be lost, for the grape's sake along the wall.
So beautiful, so pure. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. So who's performing in this?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to thank Maddie for setting me up to be in contact with her sister, Juliet. She did a beautiful job singing this, and with only a couple of days, and I really, really appreciate that.
Just gorgeous. Well, thank you so much. I feel like it's and comes at a lovely moment in this program. Okay, great. On to the next. So we're going to have our first live performance by Daisy Press, and she is going to do some chants by Hildegard. We're calling this Hildy Jams, and I think she's going to talk to you a little bit about that after. But here is Daisy Press.
Well, things may get more complicated. Actually, what this is all about, I think, is I'm lighting juniper right now, and I just went full on weird into this creature that I have become called Hildegard of Bushwick. Bushwick is where House of Yes is, and where I was first introduced to Burning Man culture. A really big part of Burning Man culture is embracing the mess of what's going on, and at a certain point about 4 years ago, I found that my my performance life and my performance identity was not a thing that was separate from my teaching identity. Those things became the same thing, and I was encouraged by a lot of folks who really beautifully exhibit this total freedom in what they do, what they create, what they show. And so actually what today is about for me, this presentation, and this came to me recently. Today is about, as a performer, I'm actually the most interested in the relationship that you, every single one of you out there, has with your own voice, whatever that means. And so I'm going to invite you into this performance of Hildegard's music. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to send you scores. And before that, I'm sorry if this is like a sort of verbose beginning. I know that it definitely is. But I want to send you, I don't know if any of y'all have been to Burning Man. It's super nuts, and you're in a survival environment, but I feel like it changed me forever. I'm going to put the 10 principles of Burning Man into the chat. There's radical inclusion, radical gifting, decommodification, radical self-reliance, self-expression, radical self-expression, communal effort, civic responsibility, leaving no trace, participation, and that's actually what I'm calling on all of you for today, and immediacy. And we've all learned how to drone this week, or sing with a drone. I have a couple different options for you in terms of how you want this to be for you today. I have A, B, and C. I'm posting them in the chat right now. Option A, do whatever you want, listen, relax, receive. I'm gonna sing some really pretty, very, very old chants for you. Just breathe, enjoy, have your camera off, do your thing, take the space and time you need. B, listen, relax, improvise, drone with me as I sing. Turn what we do into a canon, just play with your own voice. Or C, listen, sing along, try to read and follow the melodies I'm gonna sing for you with these Hildegard chants. It's gonna be hard. I go fast, I go weird. These chants have meant a lot to me in a lot of different places in my life, most of them having nothing to do with big stages. The most important thing I want to say is I am inviting you into an experience of your own voice, your own singing voice, whatever that means during this time. I'm gonna kind of warm us up. I'm gonna go sit down in my spot and warm us up. And in terms of participation, I ask you to ask yourself, hey voice, where do we stand with each other today? This is actually, this is Voice Cult. It's about singing with other people. That's most important to me right now. We do this online a whole bunch. Okay, so, I'm gonna post the chants. The first one is Laus Trinitati. The second one is O Virga Mediatrix. If you want to turn on your camera, you can. If you don't want to, that's okay. I invite you to sing. Just play. Breathe deep into your bellies, into your lower backs. Let your jaws just kind of like drop and hang. Let's all do big face. It's this. Little face. Big face. Little face. Just match this pitch. We're gonna make it messy for a little while. a second chant now. Skipped a lot. Let's go back to the Alleluias at the beginning. Did anybody sing?
I sang along with you. It was beautiful.
Just unbelievable.
I'm so glad you guys sang along. I'm so glad. I think I just came to the point in my own singing, in my own life, in my own performance, where I felt like it wasn't meaningful anymore until I was really, really intimately connected to the voices of people around me. I don't know how well it went this time. It was weird and awkward, and I just went there, and I really wanted to experiment with that.
Daisy, this is Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
This is the first time in my entire life that a sound did not come out of my mouth. It came directly out of my heart. It was like, unbelievable. Thank you, thank you. I'm a devotee. I'm going to keep coming to your voice cult. You're wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. Just thank you so much. And I've never heard these chants before. I didn't even know about Hildegard before this. So also just wow. Yeah, I don't have words right now. It's really amazing and beautiful, and thank you.
You're welcome. And as your own explorations continue, all of you, she's somebody worth checking out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Daisy. And thank you, everyone, for singing along and being present for that. I feel like I just need like 5 minutes of silence right now. So next, we're going to invite Anush Bhutani. And this is a piece that he wrote for me that is brand new. Hi, Anush.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm overcome with emotion right now.
Yeah, that was lovely.
I mean, this whole concert has just been really magical and explorative and has taken us in so many different directions and revealed so much of your personalities and skills and just everything. It's wonderful to have this and to be able to be together in this way, if not in person. So you wrote me a piece. It is called "Everything is Always Changing." Would you like to talk a little bit about it?
Sure. So, I could definitely sit here and gush for 3 minutes about what Ashley managed to do with this piece. I think I'm going to do that after because it will make a lot more sense once you've heard it. It'll really become clear what I have to say at that point. So I thought beforehand I'll sort of just give some background. When COVID really hit, back in March, a lot of us were still in school or kind of like right in the smack dab, of like a number of creative endeavors. And it's been really interesting to see how everyone reacted, in the wake of that. And because for me, basically what resulted for a long time was a sort of musical paralysis. I mean, I really couldn't bring myself to write anything. I couldn't, it was a lot of news and it was, really hard for a long time. And so it's amazing just to see even everyone in this group, like, the speed at which they were able to sort of harness their creative energies for something like this is something I really admire, because it's something that I really feel like I've been struggling with, for the past 2 months or so. And so everything is always changing is something that it's like a common mantra in several meditation traditions. And so I picked up meditation a couple years ago as a daily practice. And so this was something that, this piece and this sort of message was kind of what I needed to. It's really the only thing I could bring myself to write this summer was just that this is kind of what I need to hear. This is sort of, the message that I need to, remind myself of in the midst of all of this. And because for me, it sort of seems like, we're living in an age of extremes and we're just constantly trying to reconcile them, with so much, sickness and death, somehow we're living, like we have to keep going and we have to keep living, even though we're apart, we have to find ways to be together. So if for, and to say nothing of the political situation in this country. So what I wrote for the program note, I've become a fan of just taking quotes that are sort of very relevant. And so there's a philosopher from 500 BC, who has a wonderful quote that I think really sums this up. And so I'll leave it with that. And so he says, "As the same things in us are living and dead, waking and sleeping, young and old. For these things having changed around are those, and those in turn having changed around are these."
Thank you, Anush. Wonderful. So let's listen to Everything is Always Changing. Anuj. Bravo, man.
No,
Yeah.
to you, seriously. I mean, like literally, just so everyone knows, like that whole last section, I didn't write any of that. Like Ashley definitely like showed me what that section is. I didn't write any of the things that she did there, and I was just blown away when I saw that last night. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that that was, the piece until, she did it. I mean, it's really amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, and thank you for allowing me the freedom, it's nice when a composer is encouraging of kind of, making it your own and finding those sounds and it's just the beginning. Same with this. It's like, the start of a journey with this piece and yeah, I feel so grateful for everything and grateful for your writing and grateful to be able to play it and hear it that way. So yeah. Thank you, Anuj.
Seriously, no, I mean, the honor is mine. I mean, like Eric, I mean, I'm familiar with, of course, your solo album, when it came out, seriously, I mean, that was at that moment I thought, wow, I have to write a piece for solo cello and then developed electronics and never in a million years would I have thought like it would actually have been for you. So, it's really an honor.
I'm so happy it was. And I just, and I want to say, like, when a composer does add this extra element of electronics, or, in this case, you wrote a Max MSP, a Max patch, for me to work through. Sometimes I work in Ableton and all of this stuff, but it's for me it's like it just expands. It's like my arms get longer, my colors, everything is just more colorful. There's more variety and what I can do with my instrument. It's sort of why I love working with electronics in that way, just because I feel like I have reach. You know what I mean? And especially when you have these delays and reverbs attached to things, it's like suddenly it's the dream of everything being kind of cyclical or circular, like a bow that never ends, a note that never ends, that finally it doesn't die in front of me, or I'm not limited by my instrument. I'm kind of so much more free, and so thank you for that as well.
Of course, my pleasure.
Okay, so we have one more live performance for you all, and it's going to be by one of our fearless leaders, Michael Harrison. And just before he begins, I think we all want to say just a huge thank you to you, Michael, for bringing this online, and also thank you to David Gersten for creating Arts, Letters, and Numbers, and for being supportive and helping us move everything. You know, this was supposed to happen in person. It's something that takes a lot of planning every year. And Michael kind of said, you know, very quickly, like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to bring this online and put it together in record time. And what a beautiful thing you guys did, and that you did. So thank you so much. Yeah, big applause emojis around. Okay, so sending us off this evening is Michael Harrison, and he is doing a structured improvisation in Rag Yaman with just intonation piano. He is singing and some electric or electronic tempura. Yes.
Thank you, Michael. What a nice way to finish the festival.
Oh, my pleasure.
Namaste.
Thank you for being such a great audience.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Michael. Do you want to say a few things about the piece, or should we just bring everybody on and?
Sure, I'd love to say a few things and hear a few things.
Mhm.
So, one of the things that we've been talking about in the composition workshops is the idea of doing something to see something rather than to show something. And so this is a principle I learned from David Gersten actually at Arts, Letters, and Numbers that I've been trying to incorporate into my work, and that's really kind of behind this, because I've been studying mostly Indian vocal music, which has been a part of my daily practice for the last 40 years. So over the last 10 years or so, I've wanted to explore how that relates to the piano. And so that means to really get the right resonances, tuning the piano in just intonation. But also it means transposing a music that wasn't designed for the piano to the piano. And one of the hallmarks of Western music is harmony. And in Indian classical music, it's mostly about melody and rhythm, and the melodies outline harmonies, but you don't have harmonies per se the way you do in Western music. So part of this, what it was about for me, is exploring this raga Yaman, and adding harmonies to it, at least in the improvisatory introduction, and exploring that relationship between a kind of chorale harmonic setting and an improvised melody. So I wanted to, even though I'm also composing music like this, I wanted to actually do it live, improvising, to put myself on the spot and see, in the moment, what's coming through, because that's really the cornerstone of Indian classical music, as it is in jazz, the art of improvisation. And so that's what this was an exploration for me.
I'd like to just take a minute to thank all of you so much for the whole thing. I mean, this concert has been incredibly moving and beautiful. And as I've mentioned before, this is our festival weekend. This is our 9th summer festival, and this is the first time that we've done it without everybody physically being here together. And I have to say, it's kind of a huge eye-opener for me. I learned so much in the last few weeks, and it's really to the credit of Michael and Ashley and Peyton and Raiko to have the courage to say, well, I know we were all going to be there, but why don't we all be here? And the fact, and what it became, is just really moving. I mean, I've been lucky to be in some of the sessions here and there, and I've learned so much from them. I don't think I would be where I'm at in terms of imagining the next steps for ALN if it weren't for the courage that you all had in what you just did in these weeks. It literally gave some very poignant insights as to what's happening and what's possible. And I mean what's happening in the world, like what we're living through. And the fact that you all did this, and more than just pulled it off, I mean, you thrived and blossomed and created new relationships and new works and new ways of creating work. I mean, that's pretty wild, right? In such an incredibly short period of time. So I'm extremely inspired by what you've done. I'm extremely thankful. And I assure you, it has a direct impact on what we're going to be doing in the coming months and years.
I want to thank everyone. I was so touched by all the music today. Just an outpouring of incredible ideas and creativity and talent. It was really mind-blowing. I could have never imagined a concert at this level that we could put together in a few weeks like this. And special thanks not only to each and every one of you for putting all of your heart and energy into this, but to all of our faculty. It was just a really incredible outpouring of love energy. Thank you all so much.